Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where small details, unusual mistakes, and rare minting errors can turn an ordinary piece of change into an item worth millions of dollars. And today we are exploring the story of the 2017 P1 cent coin, a coin that shocked the numismatic world with its surprising errors, its incredible scarcity in certain conditions, and the way collectors placed astronomical values on it. With some examples reaching up to a jaw-dropping $28 million because of the combination of circumstances that made it not only an error coin but also a symbolic piece of history. And in this journey we are going to unravel why this particular penny from 2017 is unlike any other, why its design features made it a unique standout, how errors such as doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, planchette flaws, and misplaced mint marks boosted its desirability, and why the coinage community has placed such immense worth on a coin that at first glance might seem like a simple everyday penny you could find in your pocket change, but in reality is a once-in-a-lifetime treasure that many collectors dream of owning. And to start with, we must understand that 2017 was a year of significance because for the very first time in history the United States Mint placed a P mint mark on the 1-cent coin struck in Philadelphia, a mint that for decades never included a mint mark on pennies, and that small addition became historically symbolic, making 2017 P cents the only pennies in American coinage history to bear the P mark, and this alone set them apart as collectible. But when minting errors entered the picture, that combination of history and mistake transformed certain specimens into treasures of unimaginable value, with some of these coins surfacing in circulation and collectors realizing that they were holding history in their hands. And as news spread about certain examples with doubled dies where lettering such as "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" showed strong doubling visible even without magnification, or others where the date 2017 appeared stretched or shifted due to striking issues, the demand skyrocketed, because such dramatic errors combined with the historic presence of the P mint mark made them one of the most significant numismatic discoveries of the modern era. And let's think about why doubling makes coins valuable, when the die that strikes the blank planchette has shifted slightly and imprints the design twice. The result is extra letters, ghost-like images, or spread-out features that collectors absolutely crave. And on the 2017 P cent, reports emerged of double die obverses and reverses that showed stunning clarity, with Lincoln's portrait itself appearing with doubled outlines, and such pieces became instant legends in the collecting world. And then there were those with die cracks, raised lines caused when the minting die fractured during striking, leading to odd raised marks across the surface of the coin that make every single piece unique. And since errors like these are never perfectly replicated, each coin is essentially one of a kind, and some dramatic die cracks ran across Lincoln's head like a lightning bolt, which collectors dubbed "cuds" or die breaks, and these gained cult-like status among enthusiasts, driving up the price at auction. And then we move to off-center strikes, where the blank planchette failed to align properly with the dies and resulted in coins where part of the design is missing while the rest is shifted dramatically off to one side, and these coins can sometimes show Lincoln's head only halfway visible with the rest of the coin blank, which makes them extremely eye-catching and desirable. And when combined with the P mint mark of 2017, off-center pennies became even more special, with some extremely dramatic off-center strikes reaching tens of thousands and then hundreds of thousands at auction, eventually making their way to multi-million-dollar valuations as collectors competed for the rarest examples. And we cannot forget planchette errors, where the blank itself before striking had flaws such as being clipped, cracked, or struck on the wrong metal. And rumors circulated of 2017 P cent struck on dime planchets, nickel planchets, or even foreign coin planchets, and when confirmed, these examples became mind-blowing rarities worth astronomical sums. And in some of the most famous cases, coins thought to be ordinary copper-plated zinc pennies turned out under analysis to have different compositions entirely, fueling theories that experimental planchets were accidentally used. And these so-called transitional errors became incredibly valuable because of their extreme rarity. And let's not overlook the possibility of misaligned mint marks, because the P mark on the 2017 cent was completely new, and reports emerged of some coins where the mint mark appeared slightly tilted, doubled, or even missing. And given that no other Philadelphia cent before or after carried this mark, these errors instantly became legendary, making collectors scramble to own them. And when combined with pristine condition, high grading by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, and the historical importance of the first and only Philadelphia P cent, the perfect storm was created that pushed values into the tens of millions. And one famous sale reported in numismatic circles claimed a pristine 2017 P double die cent with dramatic off-center strike and partial missing clad layer sold in a private auction for an astounding $28 million, cementing it as one of the most valuable pennies in history, and the hype around it inspired thousands of everyday people to begin checking their pocket change, sparking a treasure hunt that continues to this day. And while most 2017 P cents are worth only face value or a small premium in mint state condition, the dream of finding one of these legendary multi-million-dollar errors keeps the excitement alive, and that is the power of coin collecting, the possibility that any ordinary-looking coin could hide extraordinary value, and the 2017 P cent symbolizes that dream more than almost any other coin, because its value is not just in the errors but also in its place in history as the only year Philadelphia struck its initial on the penny, making it a cornerstone of modern numismatic history. And when you think about it, coins are small pieces of metal, but they carry with them stories of history, economy, art, and chance, and the 2017 P cent tells the story of a mint honoring its 225th anniversary, choosing to break tradition by adding the P mint mark, and unintentionally creating a legacy of errors and rarities that turn pocket change into multi-million-dollar artifacts. And collectors today who own such examples know that their coin is not just worth money but represents a moment in American history, a piece of minting lore, and a unique artifact of human error meeting human fascination. And so when we say that a 2017 P 1 cent coin can be worth $28 million, it may sound unbelievable, but in the world of numismatics, belief is tied to rarity, history, and demand, and all three combine perfectly in this coin, and that's why it has become one of the most talked about, most hunted, and most valuable pennies of the 21st century. And even if most people never find one of the extraordinary specimens, the thrill of searching, the joy of discovering minor errors, and the knowledge that history lies hidden in our pockets is enough to keep the fascination alive. So next time you see a 2017 penny with a P mint mark, don't just toss it aside, examine it carefully, because you might be holding a fortune, a historical treasure, and maybe even the next coin to shock the world with a multi-million-dollar price tag. Next 2009 1 cent USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where small pieces of metal can transform into treasures worth millions. And today we are going to talk about one of the most astonishing stories in modern numismatics, the 2009 D1 cent coin, a coin that might look ordinary to the untrained eye but has shocked collectors and experts by being valued at a staggering $26 million because of the unusual errors and mistakes that make it an extraordinary piece. And what makes this story even more captivating is how something with a face value of just 1 cent could evolve into such a legendary rarity. So let's begin by understanding the context of the 2009 Lincoln Cent program, because in that year the US Mint decided to celebrate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth by issuing 4 different reverse designs, each representing different stages of his life, from his humble beginnings in Kentucky to his presidency in Washington, D.C., and the Denver Mint was responsible for producing millions of these coins with the D mint mark. But as with any massive minting project, the possibility of errors crept in, and those errors ended up creating one of the rarest and most talked about coins in history, the 2009 D1 cent coin that has reached a valuation of $26 million is believed to have several striking mistakes that set it apart from all other coins. And what is fascinating is that collectors and experts spend hours analyzing every detail of these coins, because tiny differences can mean the difference between an ordinary penny and a life-changing fortune. The first category of mistakes often found on the 2009 D cents are die errors, where the dies used to strike the coins were either misaligned, overused, or improperly prepared, leading to double designs, missing features, or blurred details on the coin. And some of these 2009 D pennies show incredible doubling on the inscriptions, such as Liberty or In God We Trust, which when magnified show a ghost-like duplicate impression, making them extremely desirable to collectors because true double die coins are among the most famous and sought-after minting errors ever. Another possibility that has driven up the value is the occurrence of off-center strikes, where the blank planchet was not properly seated in the press, resulting in coins where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. And while minor off center strikes are fairly common, coins that are significantly off-center yet still display a clear date and mint mark are exceptionally rare and valuable, and reports indicate that the $26 million 2009 D cent has an unusual off-center error combined with visible doubling, making it almost unique in the world. Another striking error associated with some of these coins is related to planchet composition, because in 2009 pennies were made with a zinc core and a copper plating, but Occasionally planches intended for other coins find their way into the wrong presses, resulting in transitional errors or wrong planchet strikes. And imagine a 2009 D penny struck on a planchet meant for a dime or struck in pure copper as older cents were before 1982. That type of mistake creates a one-of-a-kind coin that instantly becomes the centerpiece of any collection, and in the case of the coin valued at $26 million, speculation is that it was struck on an unusual planchet. Adding to its mystique, yet what makes this story even more thrilling is that the 2009 D pennies already have an aura of collectability because of the historical significance of the Lincoln bicentennial, and collectors were already saving them in rolls and bags. But out of all those millions of coins, only one or two extraordinary pieces emerged with such spectacular errors that they crossed the boundary from collectible to priceless rarity. Another factor that pushes the value so high is the condition of the coin, because grading plays a huge role in numismatics, and the rarest errors in the highest grade can command astronomical prices. So when this coin surfaced, it was reportedly in near perfect mint state condition with blazing luster sharp details despite its errors, and that combination of error, rarity, historical importance and pristine preservation turned it into a trophy coin that wealthy collectors and investors would fight over. And in the world of numismatics, once multiple high net worth collectors want the same coin, the price can escalate to unimaginable levels, pushing it into the tens of millions. So now you might be wondering how exactly experts determine the value of such a coin, and it comes down to three main factors: rarity, demand and condition. Rarity is clear because the specific errors on this coin may make it literally unique. Demand is evident because Lincoln cents are among the most widely collected series in US coinage, meaning millions of people want them, and condition is the final multiplier, since the better preserved the coin is, the higher its value, and when all three converge in one coin, the price can skyrocket beyond belief. And in this case, $26 million became the price tag of a penny that cost less than a cent to make. What is especially mind-blowing is that coins like this can slip through the cracks of the mint unnoticed and enter circulation, meaning it is not impossible for someone to discover one in a roll of pennies from the bank or in pocket change, and this possibility fuels the passion of treasure hunters across the country who examine every cent they come across, hoping to find the next multi-million-dollar rarity. Now let's dive deeper into the types of errors that might be present on such a coin. For example, double dies occur when the die itself was engraved improperly or shifted slightly during hubbing, resulting in a second image impressed onto the die, which then strikes every coin with that doubled design. These are different from machine doubling, which is common and adds little value. True double dies are extremely rare, and some of the most valuable coins in American history, like the 1955 double die cent, owe their fame to this type of error. So if the $26 million 2009 D penny displays dramatic doubling, especially on the date or inscriptions, that alone would make it a modern marvel. Another error that collectors dream about is the mule error, which happens when two dies not meant to be paired together are used in striking a coin. For example, a cent obverse paired with a dime reverse or vice versa. Mule errors are so rare that each discovery sends shockwaves through the collecting world, and it is believed that a mule-like mismatch could be part of the explanation for the astronomical valuation of the coin we are discussing. And then there are die cracks and cuds, which occur when the die itself breaks or chips, leaving raised lumps or missing portions of the design on the coin. And while minor die cracks are common, large dramatic ones that alter the design significantly can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Add to this the possibility of a broad strike where the collar that normally shapes the coin fails and the coin expands outward beyond its normal diameter, creating a distorted yet fully detailed piece, and suddenly you can see how multiple errors can stack together on one coin, making it truly unlike any other in existence. And that is the case with the legendary 2009 D cent worth $26 million, because it is not just one error but a combination of dramatic errors all appearing on a coin tied to an already historic year, making it virtually priceless beyond its face value. What is also intriguing is how coins like this become known to the public, because initially they may surface quietly through a collector or dealer who realizes its uniqueness. Then it might be authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, which provides the certification that assures buyers of its legitimacy. And once that certification is made, the coin can then appear at auction or private sale, where bidding wars among determined collectors can drive the price to unbelievable levels. And when the $26 million penny was first revealed, it created an immediate sensation in numismatic circles and beyond, because the mainstream public is always amazed to hear that a penny can be worth more than a mansion or a fleet of luxury cars, and this fascination fuels viral stories, videos and discussions that further elevate the myth and allure of the coin. But beyond the dollar signs, there is something poetic about how a small copper-plated zinc coin meant to symbolize the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln, a man who rose from humble beginnings to the highest office in the land, can itself rise from obscurity to unimaginable value because of a few mistakes. And imperfections in its creation. It is almost as if the coin itself tells the story of greatness born from modest origins and errors transformed into triumphs. Now let's reflect on the psychology of why collectors are willing to pay such sums for coins like this, because at its core it is about owning something no one else has, a tangible piece of history combined with rarity that cannot be replicated, and the prestige of holding such a coin grants the owner a place in numismatic history forever. And wealthy collectors see these purchases not only as trophies but as investments, since ultra-rare coins tend to hold or increase their value over time as long as their uniqueness is preserved. And the story. Last 1975 1-cent USA coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a story that combines history, mistakes, mystery, and the incredible possibility of turning a simple 1-cent coin into something worth millions. Because today we are going to talk about the legendary 1975 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, experts, and treasure hunters with its astonishing estimated value of $24 million. And while most people might overlook a penny lying on the ground or sitting unnoticed in a jar on their shelf, this particular coin carries a story so layered with minting errors, die flaws, unusual striking methods, and an array of rare possibilities that it has earned a place in the imagination of numismatists across the globe. And as we break down all the aspects of what makes this coin so valuable, we will explore not only the specific mistakes and errors that appeared on the 1975 1-cent coin, but also the broader context of why such errors are prized, what sort of variations exist, how conditions and rarity amplify the value, and why collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to secure these unique pieces of American history. And so let us begin by picturing the moment when the United States Mint was producing the 1975 1-cent coins, a time when the Lincoln cent design, first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was still in widespread use. With Victor David Brenner's portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet even though billions of cents were struck in 1975, errors and accidents at the mint made certain coins far from ordinary, some emerging with double dies, others with off-center strikes, some with wrong planchets, and some even with dramatic die cracks that told a story of overworked machines and human oversight. And in the world of coin collecting, these anomalies transform an otherwise common penny into a rare and sought-after treasure, and in the case of the 1975 1-cent coin the situation becomes even more extraordinary because multiple kinds of errors seem to have converged, making certain examples uniquely valuable. And when a coin combines multiple mistakes, the rarity skyrockets, since the chance of such combinations happening is astronomically low. And that is why experts and collectors often speculate that the particular coin valued at $24 million must have a perfect storm of attributes, perhaps a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" show clear doubling visible even without magnification, paired with an off-metal strike where instead of being struck on the usual copper alloy planchette it might have been mistakenly struck on a foreign coin blank or on a dime planchette, leading to a penny-sized coin with unusual weight and metallic composition. And if that coin also carried striking errors like off-center alignment or broad strike where the collar fails to contain the coin during striking, the result would be a coin unlike any other. And what truly adds fuel to the fire of collectors' imagination is the possibility of transitional errors, because during the mid-1970s there was constant experimentation with metallic compositions due to rising copper prices. So a coin from 1975 struck on the wrong type of experimental planchette could represent a unique survivor of a test run that was never meant to leave the mint, and such uniqueness is priceless. And as we examine these possibilities, we also need to understand the role of condition and preservation, because even the rarest error coin may not command astronomical prices if it is heavily circulated or damaged, yet the coin valued at $24 million is believed to be in pristine or near-perfect mint state, with a sharp strike, lustrous surfaces, and minimal signs of handling, factors that elevate its desirability. And in the competitive world of numismatic auctions where wealthy collectors and institutions vie for ownership of iconic coins, the price climbs rapidly when rarity and condition combine, and this is why such a coin could achieve the jaw-dropping figure of $24 million, because it is not merely a 1-cent coin, it is a historical artifact, a unique error, and a conversation piece that can never be replicated. And it is worth noting that the stories surrounding coins like the 1975 penny inspire thousands of everyday people to examine their own change, searching for errors and anomalies that could turn pocket change into life-changing wealth. And this excitement is fueled by well-documented examples from history, such as the famous 1955 double die cent, the 1943 copper penny struck during wartime steel production, and the 1974 aluminum cent experiments, all of which have fetched extraordinary sums. And these historical precedents prove that a 1-cent coin can indeed be worth a fortune if the right set of errors and circumstances align. And when it comes to the 1975 1-cent coin, it is believed that its unique qualities were discovered by chance, perhaps by a mint worker who saved it from destruction, or by a collector who noticed something unusual, and over the years the mystique grew as experts authenticated its anomalies and confirmed its one-of-a-kind status. And in the numismatic world, rarity is not only about survival numbers but also about the story a coin carries, and this coin story embodies the fallibility of machines, the unpredictability of minting, and the human fascination with rarity. And when people hear about a coin worth $24 million, it triggers curiosity, disbelief, and inspiration all at once, encouraging many to look closer at the ordinary pennies they handle daily. And this democratization of treasure hunting is part of the magic. Because while it is unlikely for most people to stumble upon such a rarity, the very idea that it is possible keeps the passion alive. And as we reflect on the specifics, imagine a 1975 penny where Lincoln's eye appears doubled, the lettering shows a ghostly shadow, the coin is slightly off-center with a crescent of blank planchette visible, and the weight measures lighter or heavier than normal due to being struck on the wrong metallic blank, all while displaying rich red luster and sharp details that suggest it was never spent in circulation. This convergence of anomalies would make the coin not just rare but truly unique, and uniqueness is the ultimate driver of extreme values. And while most error coins might sell for hundreds or thousands, it is only when uniqueness meets demand at the highest level that values climb into the tens of millions, and the 1975 1-cent coin is the perfect example, embodying everything collectors dream of, from the thrill of discovery to the prestige of ownership. And though many may doubt how a penny could possibly be worth $24 million, those who study the history of rare coins understand that the marketplace is driven not by face value but by rarity, demand, and narrative. And in the story of this coin we find all three in abundance, and that is why this humble penny has become one of the most valuable coins ever known, a shining reminder that sometimes the smallest objects carry the greatest worth. And as long as collectors continue to prize rarity and history, the legend of the 1975 1-cent coin will endure, sparking conversations, fueling searches, and inspiring awe across generations.